Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Inside the Mind of Guardians. I'm Blackout here at Blackout Gaming, and today I am joined by a couple of guests who are going to go ahead and introduce themselves now.
Hello, my name is Stone from Stone MC Films. If you're at my channel, that is Blackout Gaming, and go ahead.
Hey guys, I'm Thomas. Actually, I don't have a YouTube channel. That's about it.
All right, that's very simple. So, guys, basically, what this is here is Stone and I decided to go ahead and kind of collab and start a podcast like series just to sit down and kind of talk about what's going on in Destiny and soon to be the Taken King. So, if you guys would like to hear more of this kind of stuff, you can go ahead and drop a like on the video and let me know, either in the comment section or whatever, or you can also let Stone know on his channel at Stone MC Films. And we'll be doing this stuff weekly as news comes out, and especially more once the Taken King comes out. It's just kind of a chill thing as opposed to what we usually do on our channels. So, guys, first topic of discussion. We need to calm the fuck down because we're being too professional. Excuse me. So,
Party.
we're going to be playing some Crucible in the background and hopefully not get completely destroyed. So, first thing I would like to talk about is today, not today, but this week in Destiny, probably the biggest thing since House of Wolves came out happened. Xur sold Galahorn. Finally. It's
Well,
been
not finally. He
eight
sold it once
months.
before.
Yeah, he sold it once before, but nobody knew what it could do, what it did.
When he sold it that one time, it really came down to everybody looking at it and being like, why waste an exotic slot on a heavy?
Exactly. Nobody really knew the Galahorn would be what it is today. So I'm excited that Xur sold Galahorn, and I'm really excited to see the stats that come out. Like, how many Galahorns were sold. I think at least 100 million had to have been sold.
Are there even that
Honestly.
many players?
Yeah, dude, there's millions of players.
I didn't know we were up at 100 million. Jeez.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't pay
Oh
enough
yeah,
easily.
attention to the game stats.
easily. Right. So that's what I'm really excited to hear about. And like a lot of people have been really negative about Xur selling Galahorn because air quote that
I
bitch
am.
didn't earn it. And to me that's really stupid. I it's we have a patch in like 2 to 3 weeks where Galahorn's getting nerfed. I think it'd be nice for these players who haven't had a chance to get Galahorn be able to experience it in its prime. What do
I
you
do,
guys think?
I do understand where you come from on that aspect, but I really don't think he should have sold it like he did. Like, I understood if he sold it. I'm okay with him selling it in general, but they knocked his coin price down as well. It wasn't just him selling it, they sold it at the cheapest price they possibly could.
Yeah, they really
That is
did
pretty
make
bad.
it affordable. I did notice that.
I
And
mean,
I think that's just for the same aspect of they want everybody to have a Galahorn before the Taken King comes out.
I still believe that they should have had the whole 21 strange coins so the people, like, after a while, people started learning I need to save up to get 21 strange coins. That's what I have to do. That's what's going to happen next week. It might be something I want. 21 strange coins, that'll give me my weapon. But instead, it was here's 17, here's the best gun in the game when you actually come down and look at how it is in both PvE and PvP. It is by far the most overpowered thing they have in here,
Of
and they
course.
just decided that everybody deserved it. I understand giving it, but not at the price they did.
Yeah, I
Well,
do think it was a little ridiculous them selling it as cheap as they did because, like you said, it is the best weapon in the game. That is undeniable because there's so much that Galahorn makes easy, killing Skolas, Crota, hell, killing Atheon, and like the PvP aspect. You switch to a Galahorn during a trials heavy round and forget about it.
Yeah,
So I do really wish Xur would have sold it at a higher price, but either way, it still would have been affordable. Most Destiny players do have 3 characters and the ability to earn a ridiculous amount of strange coins.
they could have
well,
gotten easily 27, and
Right,
that's 9 a
easily.
week, and that's if they do have 3 characters. All right, Tommy, what were you saying? Sorry to cut you off.
anyway, honestly, I feel as the only one in this group that actually had to buy the Gallahorn here. I feel like I really didn't want it. Like I got to the point where I played the game since beta, and I honestly I regretted actually getting the gun. It's like one of those things I've played so long without it. Now I feel like I don't earn it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I did notice that you haven't even bothered
No,
upgrading it yet.
actually I have done like at least two upgrades on it, but
Right,
that's
but I mean,
because
like most players were like, day one, got my Galahorn, it's already max, because they
yeah.
just passed it around their players or their characters, and that's exactly what I did when I earned my first Galahorn because I lost my freaking mind, and it is the best weapon in the game, and I'm happy. Like I said, I'm happy for those players who get to experience it before they completely nerf it. Because come on, it is not going to be the same in the Taken King. No
It might
weapons are going
not
to be
be
the
the
same.
same, but in the Taken King aspect, they've announced a lot of different stuff, which we are going to actually try to talk about today. So I'm not going to jump right into it now, but they've announced a lot of different stuff that really kind of I don't think you would need to even try the Gallahorn for what they've said is going to be happening.
Right, Galahorn isn't going to be nearly as necessary in Taken King like it is
Well,
now.
in general, most guns are not going to be necessary in taking king the way I imagine it.
All right, so is that everything everybody would like to talk about on Zer's thought process, or is
Yeah,
anybody
it's
got like
just like I
something they would
said,
have?
it's nothing really crazy. I just I'm happy for the the lower level players of Destiny. And I mean even those players in Destiny who don't have raid crews and they don't have people who will take them through Crota or take them through even the Vault of Glass just because they can't meet up with those people. And the problem with Galahorn was people were saying like on LFG and everything like, oh, if you want to do Crota with us, you have to have a Galahorn.
Which I don't think selling it would have really fixed that. They sold the weapon, yes, and at a low price, yes, but even with that aspect applied in there, now those people that were basically saying you have to have this, they have more of a basis. Now it's literally is you have to have this. There is no oh you don't have it, there's no reason. Like you can't they can't just
I
skip it
totally
now.
get where you're coming from there. Like, oh, you just bought it, that means you didn't earn it. Like, I can see where you're coming from. Like, where people can be really
That's
douchey about that.
that actually wasn't what I was
Yeah.
talking about. I was talking about the fact that now the people that are asking about a Galahorn saying you have to have Galahorn have more of a basis to say you have to have it.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
You
it
just
basically it
okay
opens up another door for people to be dicks to each other, for
because
lack of better terminology.
yeah, it really will be like now it's there is no excuse as to why you don't have that Galahorn. It was sold. You should have it. There is
Right.
no excuse as to why you wouldn't, and people are going to use that against each other.
Sadly enough, that's just how this community is. Hopefully that changes soon.
Now I got another thing on Zer. Now that he's finally sold a Gallahorn, what next? How can he possibly ever hope to like one up the Gallahorn or one up whatever he's
Well,
got to have sell
that
now?
takes me into something that I actually forgot to bring up before the podcast started. There is something that Zur is going to be selling in the Taken King that I don't know if you guys have heard about. Have you heard about the Three of Coins?
No,
I
I have not.
have, but can we please talk about that in the Taken King section? We have
Okay,
one thing in the next part.
okay, well,
Just
we will save
bookmark
it.
that here in a little bit.
Okay, so
I
patch
did hear about
notes
that.
or the upcoming patch. For those of you who don't know, that is going to be the huge weapons patch that comes before the Taken King, where basically Bungie is going to do everything in their power to make sure all the weapons are equal. Everything's getting a nerf, everything's getting a buff, because all this community does is complain.
When it comes down to it, I understand what they're doing. I understand why they're doing it. But when you truly look at it, what's the point?
Now,
That's
Exactly
my
that.
mindset. Because they did say, as we brought up before, a lot of the stuff we have now is going to be useless in the Taken King. We brought that up earlier in the talk. And what's the point of fixing weapons that you basically aren't going to be able to be used?
right. Now, from the aspect of them actually just fixing up the exotics, from there I can understand, oh, those aren't going to be useful. But I mean, the fact that they're patching hand cannons as a
I
whole
I understand
is
fixing the
going to
weapons as
apply.
wholes, but like they are doing specific targets towards Thorn, specific targets towards Last Word, and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure they specifically targeted the Suros as well at one point. So,
There are going to be specific nerfs for every exotic. I do know that much, and yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. Where you're saying, yeah, what's the point? We're not going to be using them in what 20 some odd days now. It's coming up
Mm-hmm.
fast.
but actually, excuse me. Now that I truly look at it, I see what they're doing because even with those 20 some odd days, Taken King isn't free. There's no guarantee that those people that didn't upgrade are going to be using those weapons. They're probably going to still be stuck. Like I'm not going to say stuck in the past, but that's really kind of what it is when it comes down to Destiny's perspective. You're either in the now or you're back. And
Right.
when the Taken King comes out, those people that weren't able to keep up, because we do know there are, I feel bad saying it, there are people that are not fortunate enough to be able to keep up like we can. But
Right. We're extremely fortunate enough to have the ability to pre-order the Taken King,
I
get all
mean,
the perks at once.
I have a friend that still hasn't even gotten the Crota DLC. He doesn't have any of them. He's still vanilla Destiny. So when it comes down to it, I do understand why they're targeting those specific weapons, but even still, they're making such a large push that I don't think it'll be relevant.
Right.
Well, I'm wondering, some of the exotics though are a little bit like unnecessary to nerf, I guess. I couldn't quite put the names on the ones that were, but I've heard like here and there that some of them were pretty ridiculous nerfs.
Well,
Like I
like
understand the whole Galahorn nerf and all. Like I get it, Wolfpack rounds are extremely overpowered and stuff. But like, what was it, the last word had some dumb nerf, or the Icebreaker, for example. That whole extended time for the bullet regen. I have a hard enough time like using the Icebreaker in Crucible as it is. You're
it's
gonna increase my bullet regen now, or you're gonna make me wait longer for my bullets?
the icebreaker wasn't because of Crucible. That was because people were deciding they were going to sit in specific spots in like Atheon or Crota and pick certain things off, and they were trying to make it more of a community-based game to where you actually have to try in the raids instead of sitting back and taking everything out one by one.
Well, now increasing the amount of time you have to wait for your icebreaker to recharge, honestly, that's not going to change anything. Just using the oracles as an example, there are crews who sit up top and just snipe them with icebreakers. That's not going to make a difference because if I'm sitting there and I'm out of the bullets in my icebreaker, I'm just going to switch to my vision to confluence, which has
And
oracle
finish it
burn,
off.
and just finish it off, and then wait for my ammo to regen. If even if it takes a whole extra, I think they said they're going to tag on like an extra 15 seconds for it to
No,
fill up, 15 to 20 seconds, right?
it's
So
uh, it's going from 5 seconds a bullet to 8 seconds a bullet.
so yeah, about a total of roughly 15 to 20 seconds total.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what you were talking
Yeah,
about.
that's where I was going. No, 20 seconds of round would be awful.
But I understand like where they're coming from with that in regards because they're trying to fix it. They might not target the right things. Like when it came down to the last word, they're trying to fix its time to kill, but taking away its stability isn't going to fix anything. People are just going to adapt. Taking away its range also going to adapt. It might slow people down, but they will sooner or later catch how the gun works, and they will still have their 3 shot kill weapon back.
Right.
Oh, that
I'm
Thorn's range got nerfed though. That's a good thing. That's something I've been long waiting.
The thorn is completely understandable. Everything they did to it deserved was completely deserved. But that was also in mainly a crucible standpoint. They made it to where it can be used in PvE instead of just sat there like most people look at it now. Having the burn stack is a decent fix. Taking away the damage, I understand where they're coming from, but I don't know if that's going to help much. Hopefully, that's just a Crucible only thing because I know they have their Crucible only targets that they're doing. Because taking away the damage of a weapon that you're trying to make PvE compatible is not a very good idea.
right, and I think a lot of them are going to be specific to Crucible because obviously these weapons have totally different damage numbers when you're playing in the Crucible. as opposed to, just running around on patrol or something or another. Like I do, what was that? Just 111 damage per headshot in the Crucible with my last word at what I just did. It's
Yeah,
the numbers
it's
are
somewhere
totally
around
different
there.
in PvE, and I can totally get where you're coming from there because I do occasionally use my thorn in PvE just to mess around with, but it's not an optimal PvE weapon. I feel like that weapon was made with the Crucible in mind. Not to the extent where it's at now, where all you see in trials is a thorn and a last word, which I'm using right now because I'm one of those people.
I I understand that they made them in mind and stuff like that, but I also want to see what they're going to do. They're doing the hand cannon nerf, yes, but that doesn't target specific things because even I can vouch, being that if you've been watching the gameplay or even if you're just listening to this, because there are some people that might be doing something just listening to how we're talking. Now, if you were watching the gameplay, you'll see I'm using the Fulcrum, which is the Future War Call hand cannon. It, in my mind, it is really broken. It is a weapon that would need fixed. The hand cannon nerf might do something to it, but depending on how you run it, you never know. So I'd like to see if they were going to target specific weapons besides exotics. Like if they're going
Well,
to target like
as
Fate Ring and
far as
stuff
the
like
patch
that.
notes are now, that's not going to be a thing. They're primarily focusing on these weapons as a whole, and then they're focusing on the exotics on their own. And that is a little concerning because I really hope that doesn't mean that Last Word and Thorn are going to get hit with the hand cannon nerf and then their own damage fall off nerf. I hope that
Another,
the hand cannon nerf applies and then they do like you were talking about the burn stack on Thorn.
yeah,
That's totally separate and exclusive to Thorn alone.
I actually have a question for both of you guys. Of course, one at a time can answer. I'll probably say, Tommy, you should answer it first. You haven't said something for a little bit, and I kind of want to hear your
All
thoughts.
right.
What do you guys think about how they're fixing the final round? Not specifically for
Oh,
snipers, but overall.
well, I mean, in overall, in general, I really don't. I never really used first round. It was one of those things I never really had to rely on because, well, if I'm gonna go and I'm gonna hit you in the head, no matter what, I'm hitting you in the head. I'm not gonna go for a body shot. If I hit you in a body shot, it just means I'm not a good enough sniper. That's the way I see it. So, and honestly, final round on a sniper in general shouldn't have never been there. For everything else, like such as a shotgun, eh, kinda.
It
I
can
mean,
save you in
shotguns
a
are OP
clutch
as it is.
situation.
And the shotgun really need a final round, really?
It could really save you in a clutch situation. Say you're doing a 3v1, you have 3 rounds, you put two into a guy, and somehow he managed getting his, say it's a warlock, getting his flame shield. You need that extra damage to stop him. There's no way you're
Yeah.
going to kill him with 1 round. So I can understand where they were coming from in that aspect, but the way they fixed final round, I don't know about. I kind of want to hear what Lance has to say before I go on my little rant about it.
Well, as far as what they're doing with the final round, I'm one. Okay, so when you apply to it as far as sniper rifles, okay, it's pointless what they're doing to it with sniper rifles. You may as well just take it off. The only situation I see that even being remotely useful is, like you said, with a Sunsinger self res, where they get that extra armor, or maybe even a Blade Dancer. But I'm pretty sure you get a headshot with almost all snipers with high impact, and you're going to drop that Sunsinger and that Blade Dancer. Now, as
The
far
thing
as
is,
on other weapons, it makes a little more sense. You have final round in, say, a hand cannon, and you get a headshot. Yeah, the considerable amount of extra damage would be really helpful in that case. And I mean, even in like I don't want to say like a pulse rifle or anything. There's nothing final round on pulse rifles. But yeah, shotguns. But the fact that they're focusing primarily on critical damage, it just sounds like it's just their way around not getting rid of final round altogether, which I think would probably be a better solution instead of this only headshots trigger the final round damage.
hmm
That's
I'm
how I feel about it. I wish they would just get rid of it altogether. This just sounds like a lazy way around it.
Well, I mean, like, I don't remember. Does handguns actually get final round?
Hand
I think
cannons
they
have
do.
final round. My
Yeah, definitely with a hand cannon final round, that would be nice. But like the whole headshot critical final round, that would be great. But
That's how most
I do
people
get what you mean
break
by
the.
snipers.
That's how most people break the fulcrum is final round and look in the chamber as a
yeah,
combination.
that's a baby hawk moon for those of us who are on Xbox.
All right, so when I look at it, for okay, we should actually mention we're on Xbox instead of people questioning what we're talking about
Yeah,
in some aspects, because I know PlayStation has some different builds, like when it comes down to how people play, stuff like that. On Xbox, a lot of the stuff we see is what we're talking about, like the whole Thorn and Last Word and the Crucible. I know you guys got Hawk Moon and stuff like that, which of course would factor in on PlayStation. But what I see when they're trying to fix this final round thing, really, it's not that it's a bad idea with the snipers. I understand what they're going for with the sniper. They're making it obsolete. Okay, I'm okay with that. And basically, the final round with the sniper is really only going to be good with PVE, which I'm pretty sure is what it was originally intended for, was to do that little extra damage on a boss if you're about to run out of ammo, instead of being able to one-shot somebody from across the map in Crucible. But when it comes down to a shotgun, I've never got or seen anybody really manage a true critical hit with a shotgun. It's not an easy feat to just jump up in the air and shoot somebody in the head with a
Right.
shotgun when you're
You're
trying to
you're
get into a
mostly
battle.
aiming for the chest area or basically just wherever you can hit with a shotgun because it's so up close and personal.
hmm
There's almost no point in going for a crit shot.
See, I understand what they're doing when it comes down to PvE side of things. You always try to hit those critical shots so that you're able to stop something, stop a big boss, stop a large enemy like a say a cabal with a shields running at you. You try to knock down his shields and get to that weak point. It's what everybody really does when it comes down to playing PvE. But in PvP, it's really is going to break. Like the shotguns have their own nerf coming, which I understand, but a lot of the shotguns are based upon their final round. Invective, final round, Found Verdict, final round. I'm pretty sure Fellwinter's also has, when you get it, a final round, based on roll, of course. But even still, people try to get that final round on those shotguns, and that's the only one that truly worries me. All the other stuff you can get headshots with, and of course it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice to have it there. But with a shotgun, it's really going to be complicated.
Right. That's the like that's exactly how I feel. I I think it would have just been better altogether to remove final round from the game.
I understand why they didn't though. They
I
didn't
I
do
can
it
understand as well.
because
I feel like
everybody
this
will
is a
target
lazy
them.
way around it.
They didn't do it because everybody will target them. It really is a lot of players
Mhm.
that have wasted. I'm not going. Actually, if you're trying to get a specific build and you don't get what you want, it really does feel like you're wasting the lights and weapon parts. That I know a person that grinded for 2 hours just refurbishing his weapon over and over again, rebuilding it to try to get his perfect little baby hawk moon with the fulcrum. Now, as
Mhm.
soon as you take away the ability to get a really good final round shot, say you shoot the guy twice with 3 mags left, if you take away that ability to have to hit him in the body and still get a decent amount of bonus damage for the kill, it's going to make a lot of people mad.
Mhm.
So, really, when it comes down to it, they are looking at if they take it away altogether, what will happen, and it will make a lot of people more upset than it will be of you just need to have a little bit more aim. You just need to try adapting your skill a little bit more to aim for the head as much as possible.
Right. And I'm not as mad when I get killed by a headshot. But when I'm playing trials and I'm on Widow's Court, I look across the map and I get shot in the foot by a final round effort eats. I get salty because I know that didn't take nearly as much skill to kill me as it would have been some guy shooting me in the head, you know?
Yeah, always.
And that's why final round angers everybody. for that exact reason. But look at me, I'm sitting here right now with a final round LDR, so I use it.
Of course, if you have it, it's always going to be good. I mean, like,
Yeah,
it's just kind of how most of the games work. If you have the weapon, it's a good weapon. I
right.
mean, but look, as you are, you're looking in the perspective of people that wouldn't have something like that, and it really is. It's the largest. Like, to me, I feel cheated because I've never
Mm.
gotten a final round sniper, never have. And when I try to play against one, I just feel like there's no chance. I'm trying to use like my
Oh,
main
definitely.
sniper is a Praedyth. I try to use a Praedyth up against a final round. There is no like they don't even need to aim for long. They can just pull the trigger and just hope they hit me anywhere. And I'm
Exactly.
dead.
Exactly.
I need to take that extra time that I really don't have.
Well, to move away from the discussion about final round, I'm going to talk about something I'm actually kind of excited about, and I don't know if everybody else is. The auto rifle buff that everyone's been asking about for a while now, since they ruined auto rifles, is coming in this patch, more or less. I'm
Actually, I'm
excited
kind of
for it
excited for it.
because back when before they broke my Suros regime, I was able to use it in the Crucible and just have a good time altogether. Almost like I can now with my Last Word or my Thorn. And I'm really excited to be able to do that again because I mean they're getting the increased damage, and we're even getting a boost by I think 10% of damage against AI combatants, which is even better because I feel like there's no point in using an auto rifle anymore in PVE because you do like no damage.
Exactly that too.
I'll
But if they
admit
increase the
Actually,
damage, it'll be useful again.
when
I've
I
actually
look
been very excited
okay.
for my summoner. Like this is the very first like trial, like what lighthouse weapon I've gotten here, and I've never been able to use it because well, you can't really use an auto rifle in Crucible ever.
I just got my first summoner last night. No, yesterday morning when I went to the lighthouse for the first time this week. I got my first summoner,
I've
and that
still never
actually
been to
completes
the
my
lighthouse,
collection,
so I don't know how
which
that feels.
it's
But
a good feeling, and I do it every week.
when I look at it coming down to the specific thing of an assault rifle. I understand that you want it to be strong. I understand that type of stuff, but I'm really afraid. I realize they have added the damage fall off from a range, but I'm really afraid that it's going to turn back into what Vanilla Destiny was, and that was every time you joined a Crucible match, there was an assault rifle on your face, and there was no escaping it. It was really just people. I mean, like when you look at it, high rate of fires, those things, if they buff them too much, are going to destroy everything. It'll be like you're walking around with a LMG.
Right, but at the same time, it's better than fighting using a marshmallow gun, where you feel like that weapon can't even be used in the game.
Yes, I understand that point, but I'm just afraid that it could be either it could work out or it could just go horribly wrong.
Right, it could go either way at this point. And I feel like Bungie has learned from their mistake in the past with the auto rifle buff. And I mean, hell, fusion rifles, dude. How long's it been? That was an awesome throw. How long's it been since you guys have effectively used a fusion rifle in the Crucible? Because I haven't been
Never,
able to do it since Vanilla Destiny.
When I look
never.
at it, when I look at a fusion rifle, a regular fusion rifle, I can do it quite decently. They amp the charge time, which I think they're in a decent place as how they are built. I can run the charge time, which is fine, but it really is if you hit all three shots, they're dead, which is a fair. I think it's a fair thing. I mean, if you miss, then you miss, and you need to actually have your aim on. But when you look at it and you think of something like the Vex, which is a completely different type of fusion rifle, it's I will say it is very broken. They gave the Vex a buff. How long ago was it? Like it was a more recent buff. I'm pretty sure they
Yeah, it
fixed it.
wasn't too long ago.
They tried to fix the Vex, and they did, considering what you're looking at as its counterparts. You're looking at Thorn, you're looking at Last Word, and you're looking at like really I've seen a really large jump in a weapon I didn't think was going to be coming back that fast, like the Red Death. It was there they something had happened, and then it all of a sudden recently it's back.
The pulse rifle nerf that we got about 4 months ago, really, after that, I was seeing red deaths everywhere. And that was around the time that they dropped auto rifles pretty much completely off the face of the Crucible. And then the pulse rifles took over. And then, yeah, like you said, all of a sudden, red death disappeared. Now it's back. I mean, excuse me, that not nerf, but where that boost is still kind of around for the pulse rifles, where they're still super effective. Like I get eaten alive by the messenger every day, and it has partially to do with that pulse rifle buff that they got 4 months ago.
I see where they wanted to fix pulse rifles. I really did. But I think in the process of fixing most pulse rifles they also broke the messenger. I don't think the messenger was around at that time,
It
but
was not.
they did, in my mind, they really messed up. Because giving the buff to where they do more damage, and then being like, okay, now this specific pulse rifle, if you shoot him in the body, at least like basically it's like one or two shots. Then you pull the trigger a second time, you're doing more damage on the headshots if you land them.
Hmm.
I understand they were trying to add a skilled hand, tried to reward a skilled hand, but when I'm getting like a guy that somehow gets body shots on a teammate to kill him, and then just pulls with the trigger once to shoot me in the head, which his buff is still there, it still gives him his advantage, and he pulls the trigger once and shoots me in the head, and I'm dead already. I really think they overlooked some of their little damage modifiers.
Right. I like how we were just talking about fusion rifles, and I just got killed by the calming.
Same here.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. So I'm just curious. This is kind of going back to the Zer thing. Zer sold Galahorn this week. I think, and they haven't confirmed this, but this is all theory in my head. We're going to get the this patch that we're talking about right now next week. Do you guys think that's plausible?
I could see it as next week, but in the mindset of how I'm truly thinking, it's not going to be a. I don't think it'll be next week. If anything, it'll be the week after. I think that would be prime time, but that's because, as I discussed with you earlier before we recorded, I will admit some of these topics we are still fresh in our heads because we were actually going over them in a car ride. But I had discussed with you over the fact that the guys that don't play daily, like me, you, Tommy, all of them, they don't. There's a decent amount of the Destiny fan base that doesn't play every day. They play once or twice a week, stuff like that. I think they're going to give at least a week for people to take that Galahorn. I understood where you're coming, where they're like everybody wants to experience it, and basically, I think they're going to give a week for that Galahorn to have its time to upgrade for those people that aren't going to be able to get it within a day or two, and they'll give them that time to upgrade it, and then they'll
Mm-hmm.
have about another week to actually play it. They'll have that time to feel how the Galahorn plays, feel how it is before they try to drop it. And speaking that we are still on the weapon patch, what exactly was specified that they were doing to the Galahorn? And I kind of want to see what everybody's thought processes are on if they are worth or not.
Okay, so I can read you exactly what they're going to do to Galahorn. This is straight from Destiny's website, straight out of Deej's, or not exactly Deej's mouth. If Destiny had a nuke, it would be called the Baller Horn. We definitely intended to have a high damage heavy weapon that was ideal for PvE destruction. What we did not intend, and what we unfortunately saw, was pickup raid and nightfall groups gating participation based on whether or not players had this weapon. Galahorn was so strong that for many people it had become the only answer to getting through tough encounters. Therefore, they were less willing to spend time with other players that didn't have it. All they're really doing is reducing the damage of the Wolfpack rounds, which, when you think about it, those Wolfpack rounds are what make Galahorn Galahorn. I
So,
mean,
do you
It's
think it's a good idea or a bad idea when you truly
I
look at it?
I honestly, if you want to look at it from the perspective of there are these raid crews and nightfall crews like on LFG or any other looking for
I understand you're going into your thing about the
guardians.
whole
Yeah,
set
that's
there.
personally how I feel about it. Is
Okay,
they
your
exclude these
personal. Okay.
players because the weapon is ideal for like killing Crota or whoever the hell, and they exclude people because they don't have that weapon.
Wait, may I ask why are we in Rumble?
I was just getting bored of skirmish,
Oh, I
so I
got
thought I'd
very
mix it up.
confused.
Sorry.
I got killed by Tommy and was lost. I thought I
Sorry.
somehow managed under the other team. Okay.
But yeah, that's how I feel about it. I literally feel the same way Bungie feels about it. How do you guys feel about it? Tommy, you haven't talked in a little bit.
Well, like I said, I went through the whole game without Gallahorn, and I've proved that you don't need a Gallahorn to get through anything. Honestly, I think the Gallahorn's overrated. Personal opinion, Gallahorn's the most overrated gun in the game, and I don't need it. I've never needed it. I've ran with a Hunger of Crota. I've ran with the one-way ticket for the longest time ever, and still did good. So, in all relevance of the whole Wolfpack round getting nerfed, I probably won't even get a chance to use it because I don't need the Gallahorn. I use my other guns, which are better, in my honest opinion, that better than Gallahorn. I just use them.
Right. That's definitely been your outlook on it because only because the thing has never dropped for you. I think you would
And
have
I've,
a totally different perspective if it had dropped for you early in your gameplay. Oh, somebody just
but
got their pulse rifle done for bad juju. Good for them.
in all retrospect, honestly, do, do you really need Gallahorn? Think about it. If, at this point in time in the game, where we have all the weapons in the game, we can do any other weapon we want, but Gallahorn somehow makes the list no matter what. Is it really that important?
To a
What
lot
I've
of
never had it.
people,
I've never thought it was.
when it came down to like say going up against Skolas or something like that, there were a lot of people that it was. And of course, in my own personal opinion, I don't see it as important as those people did. But if you were killing Skolas, you had to be 34, have Galahorn, and that was when the burn existed. Now it's even worse. You have to have Skolas. You have to have a decent armor build. There must be a Titan in a lot of people's minds for the bubble of basically having weapons, and Galahorn is still a prerequisite. Like a lot of people refuse to try to kill Skolas without the know or the feeling of being able to just drop him as quick as possible.
the problem with this community that I've ran into personally a lot of times is people aren't focused on just making friends as much in this community as they're more focused on their end game rewards and just accomplishing everything as fast as possible. I like the idea of just going in and having a good time for the most part. I know I can with my own teams and everything, I can get a little antsy when it comes to like trials and stuff. But when it comes to
Little.
raids and everything, it's nicer to be able to just have fun and enjoy it instead of worrying about the end game rewards. And that's the problem that people are running into, that's all they care about. Like you said, you have to have a Titan with a defender bubble and weapons of light, this specific class build, this specific weapon to kill Skolas with in people's minds. But Skolas has been killed in many different ways at this point since he's been out. And you don't always need weapons of light.
And in the point of that, people saying Galahorn is required, I will throw out a other YouTuber that of course a lot of people probably know at this point. Dado killed Skolas using nothing but shoulder charges. Nothing but
Exactly.
shoulder charges. So if you're able to do it with a Titan's melee, of course people bag on the Titans a lot. That's why I'm kind of emphasizing the word Titan there. A Titan's melee, then why would you? Why do you truly need a Galahorn?
Right. Dado has proven many times on his own that you do not need Galahorn or any specific weapon to kill hell anybody. Him and his raid crew, they killed Crota with nothing but necrochasms, and he did the raid blindfolded. There's so much that Dado's a whole nother discussion. He's just an amazing YouTuber and an amazing Destiny player.
But when it comes down to my outlook, you guys have said yours. I think Galahorn, the way they're trying to fix it, is a decent idea, but as we've discussed, the Taken King's changing everything. It really is. It's going to be changing a lot of how the game is played, and they've said there are things out there that make Galahorn look like nothing.
Right.
So if if there are still players after this game comes out that still want to use a weapon that will, in my mind, I don't know if anybody else looks at it this way, be outdated, which in my mind it is. It's going to be an old
Right.
weapon. It's not going to be nearly as fun. But if people want to use that and really, like, I understand trying to get rid of the prerequisite, but a lot of people are going to be updating. There are still those select people that will not be upgrading, but from what I've seen, a lot of people plan on upgrading.
Oh yeah, you got to with Destiny. Like it's just like World of Warcraft and any other crazy MMO. You got to keep going with them. Oh, you found a dragon's breath, Red. Nice.
I'm actually
Congratulations.
kind of happy about that. That's my first exotic from a Crucible game.
Congrats.
Good day. But when I look at it that way, I always think to myself, why are they doing it? I understand they want to get rid of that prerequisite, but when it comes down to it, all these new weapons that are supposed to make the Galahorn look puny are probably going to become the new prerequisites. They're going to be what are the new Galahorn. And I'm afraid that that is going to be basically a spiral that they're creating.
Right, and honestly, all we can do from this point forward is hope that Bungie has learned from all the mistakes, and they've made a lot in the first year of Destiny.
Zero
And
not selling any weapons. Cough,
that
cough, cough.
that was pretty funny, and I'm glad I was around to see that happen. But they've made so many mistakes and so many changes to Destiny that it's ridiculous. Like you can go gonna go ahead and plug the shit out of my channel right now. You guys can go. I'll throw up an annotation. Check out a video I made just about the storyline Destiny had.
I'm dismantling a dragon's breath. Bye bye.
Selfless shame or shameful self promotion right there.
Shameless self promotion.
But
Shameful.
really, it was, he did make a video like that, and if people truly want to check it out, they can do. So it really isn't, self promotion really isn't that much when you truly look at it. It's all on the viewer to decide if they're clicking the button or not.
So guys, to kind of move, take the discussion over. Speaking of the Taken King, and I'm just gonna throw this out there right now. Something that makes me really excited for the Taken King is I heard about some game footage from Gamescom. Okay. And if you see that footage, you can see they played the first story mission. There were green weapons, okay, that made our legendaries at the moment look like whites.
Okay, so we're moving on to the Taken King. Is that what I'm
Yes.
catching here?
Yes.
Okay. What do you guys? I want to. This is another question. I'm just gonna pump out questions to ask you guys about them. What do you guys think of the fact that legendaries aren't coming with us?
Oh, it hurts. I got so much heart, and love in all my guns that like the fact that they aren't is gonna make me want to cry a little bit.
Okay, so on one hand, I'm glad because I run the same PvE build for everything. I run a Fatebringer, I run a Swordbreaker and or a Secret Handshake, and I run a Galahorn. I run that for everything, with the exception of Nightfalls with specific burns. Now, I'm really bored of it, and I don't want to go 10 years taking my Fatebringer with me. Now, I would like to hang on to it for sure, as just as a collector. I would love to hang on to my weapons. That's a whole
We can
nother
get into
discussion
that.
for
Yeah.
later, but that's something else entirely. Now, I do not want to use my Fatebringer for 10 years because it is without a doubt the best PvE hand cannon. There's no argument there. Everybody loves
So
that
far,
weapon. So far, exactly. Now, I want the next best thing now. Them, like I said, at Gamescom, where they showed green weapons from the Taken King were better than the legendaries we currently use in Tier 1 Destiny. That makes me so excited because it just sounds like a whole nother adventure to go on collecting these green and blue weapons and thinking, oh my god, these weapons are actually really, really good. I remember I hung on to one specific pulse rifle that was blue and I refused to get rid of it until I hit level
Stranger's
30.
rifle. Stranger's rifle.
No, it
The
wasn't the
one gun.
Stranger's rifle. I can't even remember exactly what it was, but it was one I collected. I was like level 15. But it's like before I knew about all these legendaries and everything and how really useless the rares are now, that was just like my favorite weapon to use. Was just a blue pulse rifle.
Is this
And
necessary?
it makes me what?
Tommy. I was looking something up on Google and I seen him bobbing up and down next to me.
Oh,
I'm actually trying to find a thing for another question I'm going to ask you guys about here in a bit. But when it came down to it, when I looked at the fact that we're getting rid of old legendaries, I was kind of upset and at the same time happy. Like, one, I understand where they're coming from. They want people to change how they actually normally play. But when I look at it, I do not, I don't want to drop the weapon I'm used to. I I understand PVE side of things. It's going to be great to change up. Like I really try to do that as much as I can now. I'm the weird guy that'll jump into a raid crew and be using some type of crazy weapon that's not going to do anything for me, but I want to try to use it. But when it comes down to it, when it comes to Crucible, I don't want to try to learn how to use what will be a new fusion rifle or a new assault rifle or something like that when I already have in my example here I'm going to run with a sniper. I don't want to try to drop my Praedyth. I've become so used to how it plays, its fire rate and all that stuff that it's going to take forever to try to learn that new play style.
and that is exactly what makes me excited for the Taken King because I feel like it's going to kind of level the playing field for everybody.
It's a whole new world, guys. Cue Aladdin
Exactly.
song.
I am not throwing that up there because that's going to get me copyrighted, and I do not want that to happen.
Now, the question I have about you guys is a discussion that's been going on between a lot of people, and they are really pushing for a certain way this thing's going to be set up. And I know it's going to be very powerful, being just how you have to get it. What the sleeper simulant?
Oh my god, don't even get me started on that beauty of an exotic.
A lot of people are looking at the sleeper simulant, which, if you guys don't know, is an exotic which I'm pretty sure has been confirmed is scattered throughout the dreadnought. Not just an exotic you open a chest and poof, it's there. You need to find parts, pieces
Ooh,
scattered. 50, I
And
believe.
yeah, like you said, for those of you who don't know what it is an exotic fusion rifle that goes in your heavy slot.
And it
hmm.
actually has a certain setup that I've seen some of the stuff they're really pushing for it, and it can supposedly, the way it runs, it can ricochet off of, if you build it correctly, 5 times, and it's basically like a laser.
It's a railgun. Essentially,
Yeah,
it's a railgun. It's
and
a
it can
Destiny railgun.
ricochet 5 times. Now, the way a lot of people have been looking at it, I've seen several videos on YouTube. If I could find a few, I might plug them in the description. I'm not going to promise anything. I'm not using straight names. I'll try to see. But there are a lot of different videos I've seen that are basically looking at the sleeper simulant and asking their comment section, is this going to be the next Galahorn?
From the gameplay footage I've seen of it alone, and there is footage of you them using it in like the Crota raid. Now, I don't know if I would call it the next Galahorn. Maybe. I didn't get to see it fully upgraded. So we obviously have yet to see its full potential, which none of us are going to be able to see until that first player collects all those pieces out of the dreadnought and puts it together, and then maxes that bitch out.
I'm telling everybody in this thing, I can't promise anything, but believe me, we are going to try to be those first few people. We're doing some
I
stuff about
I would
it,
love to, honestly, but that's oh, you're an ass. That's
I'm
another
sorry.
discussion for later. Anyways, as far as the sleeper simulator is concerned, the gameplay footage of it that I've seen, it looks so promising, and a heavy fusion rifle that just sounds so weird and so
See,
epic to
I
me.
was so anti-fusion rifle. Like that's the one thing I refuse to use ever is a fusion rifle because it's in my mind there's not enough uses for one. Like, there's not enough like scenarios I find myself, oh wow, I could really use a fusion rifle right there. I've been times where wow, I could use a sniper rifle right there or a shotgun. I got disconnected. Anyway, I could use a shotgun or something, but fusion rifle, nothing ever.
Well, see, that's exactly what. Let me think of a good example. You played Halo 4. Do you remember the railgun?
Mm-hmm.
That is basically what the sleeper simulant is.
That's the problem though. I never liked the railgun. The charge time for it was ridiculous, and the fact that you had to had such a precision kill hit on it to kill sucked. So if they're just trying to replicate something similar to that railgun in Halo, I know you just use that as an example, but like for future reference, I'm gonna call it's gonna be like the railgun in Halo, where everyone's gonna be like so excited for it, and they're gonna get to use it, and it's gonna be like, what the hell is this?
I have to run check my door. I'm going to mute my mic. I'm just announcing to everybody here these two will probably continue discussing, and I'll jump back in when I can. But I have somebody at my door, so I will be right back.
Take care of that. The professionalism is real today. Anyways, I get where you're coming from as far as the hate for fusion rifles, but they would not be pumping the gun up as much as they are if they thought it was just going to be another crappy fusion rifle.
But here's the thing though, did they pump up Gallahorn at all when the game first came out? They're like being sneaky about the shit. They're like, okay, go ahead, buy it. I'm not gonna tell anyone what it does, but buy it.
Right,
Nothing.
but I wasn't around pre beta for Destiny.
I was.
And yeah, I understand not a lot of talk was done about Gallahorn. And it was just kind of like an out of nowhere thing. But I think Gallahorn, its power, like we said before, was kind of unexpected. This, like I said, we've seen gameplay footage of it, the Super Simulant, and it does look promising. But the only issue I have with it is the same issue you have with it. It's the time to kill.
The
Hmm.
Gallahorn was intended, though. I caught a
It
little bit
was.
of that conversation.
Yeah, it was very intentional. Actually, they even said, and that one thing you just
Right.
read, they
For
were looking for a gun
PvE.
that pumped out in PvP. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, the
But
Gallahorn doesn't really have PvP uses. I've never seen one.
right.
I wouldn't be
But
caught dead using the
what they
Gallahorn in
didn't
PvP.
intend was all of the BS that followed.
Mr. Sneaky.
I'm actually downloading a photo right now that I'm going to put up on my screen in my XSplit broadcaster as we do this. That is going to be my a picture of what it we have seen to be the sleeper stimulant. So I'm just announcing that now. If I seem to be a
And
little bit
there's a
out
few
of it,
other exotics that have already been confirmed. I think there's a total of 30 plus exotics coming in the Taken King, about half weapons, half armor. And
that
I will try to find pictures and everything to throw up for you guys.
I understand why they want the half weapon, half armor thing, but I really think to throw some people for a loop, they need to have, in my opinion, I know everybody looks on it differently. I think there needs to be more armor than there is weapons, especially when it comes down to
Oh
what
yeah.
they can do now. They are adding in the new subclasses for each of the characters, and I still, even though it's a new subclass, I want to see armor for even going back. Like, I want to see Blade Dancer armor and stuff like that coming
I would like
back.
to see that too, actually. Like, the whole fact that like there's this whole world of new weapons that everyone can be good at with, but armor wise, it's kind of like it's thin picking. Like I run my Slayer's armor because well, I mean the whole I have the ability to carry my special ammo. Not a lot of armors do that except for raid armor or certain armors like that. While honestly, I don't think there's a whole lot of armor choices. Like right now, my
Well,
guy looks like a freaking retard because sorry about that by the way. My guy looks like he's not very well suited for a battle and looks like he's ready to pop a few zits on his arm. But I mean, it's the best
well,
armor I got.
that's another thing that is being tackled is like what would you say your preferred look of your warlock is. Probably your, I don't know, Light Beyond Nemesis and your Death Singer's Herald.
I don't know. I'm more so as a ram guy now. But I mean, if I really was like idealize a warlock, it would definitely be like Beyond Nemesis with a few other things.
Right.
Um,
Now that's what transmogrification is going to be, and they've all but confirmed it.
I'm just announcing now. What was on my screen there was an actual image of this sleeper simulant.
So they've all but confirmed you'll be able to take the look of certain armors, change the armor you're wearing to that, and keep the abilities that the armor you're wearing has. So, say I really like the look of the white cloak that a hunter gets, the first one. People keep it specifically for the way it looks. You'd be able
yeah.
to. Oh, well, that was a bad example. I just thought of it. Um, I don't know. Some blue helmet. Okay, I can't think of an exact example, but I want to
How about
use
this?
the look of it.
Don't
But
use the blue helmet. Use the starting armor.
okay, yeah, you like the look of the starting armor, but you like the perks that the Kel Slayer armor gives you for whatever reason. You can look like you have that white armor, but have all the abilities the Kel Slayer armor gives you. That's transmogrification, and my really, really crappy way of describing it. But I mean,
That was rude.
transmogrification is kind of normal, and like I'm sure everybody could understand exactly what it
Yeah.
is without needing to
I mean, those
describe it.
Diablo users, like Diablo 3 had that in there too. And honestly, I loved it. Like I loved making being on my character look like he was more badass or something. It was something neat to do. And I felt good about my character too. Like I didn't have this like stupid armor that looks retarded and my guy was really good. I had really cool looking armor and my guy was doing really good.
Now I understand the armor I'm wearing now isn't going to be coming with me, except for basically, like, say, my helm of inmost light. I like the ability they're giving because honestly, when it comes down to it, I want to be able to have, say, I'm using the striker class I'm using now. You can, got it pulled up on my screen so people can see it. I'm wearing currently the helm of inmost light. Now, that really, I like the look of it, but when it comes down to it, I really like my Saint 14 a lot better just because of the mohawk, and you really look like you're just about to go in somewhere and wreck a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
So you're basically saying that if I was to run my Helm of Saint, I could have the ability of my inmost with the setup they're
Exactly.
trying to get.
Exactly. Now, another thing that I really appreciate about transmogrification is the whole point of Destiny is to build your own legend and you as a guardian exclusively. Now, at the end of Crota, when it first came out, everybody was wearing the raid armor so they could have the level. Nothing really changed about that until House of Wolves came out, when you were able to wear that armor and have the light be ascended with the Etheric light. Like now I can wear my Vogue armor and be a little more of my own person wearing that armor.
Okay, so have we touched on trans? I can't even say the word. I'm sorry,
Transmogrification.
my mouth can't do that. Um, have we touched on that enough? Do you think? Because I actually there was something you brought up that I want to move to.
Okay, go ahead.
The lack of light level.
I'm happy.
What do you
I'm
mean by that?
personally happy. Um, okay, so for those of you who don't know, and Tommy, you might be one of them, there's not going to be light level in the Taken King.
Hmm.
It is confirmed that we will be leveling up solely on EXP.
Actually, I didn't know that, so thank you.
No problem.
Um,
Ooh, I got a split shifter.
wow, actually, I didn't know that. That kind of does bother me. I was like expecting, get to a certain level, and then hey, last few levels, fucking with your light. Sorry, excuse me. Mess with your light, and then work your way up from that. Kind of like similar to what we did here.
Right. Here's my problem with light level, okay? I was a 34 3 days after House of Wolves came out. Some people were there 2 days after it came out.
But
Heck, there are a few people that were there on the first day. There were streamers that did it.
Well, here's the thing though. That's all the idea of etheric light. Etheric light made it way too easy to get the max level.
Exactly.
I couldn't tell you how many like that's me and you both did it. What third day? We were
I,
done. We
Exactly.
had all three characters 34 except for me.
I wouldn't
I
also
said forget about my hunter.
I wouldn't blame it straight on etheric light,
The
as
Prison
you
of
were saying.
Elders could have been harder.
Prison of Elders, yes, it could have. They could have done a little bit better trying to even it out. I mean, like some of the boss battles they had in the 32 were harder than the 34. Like trying to fight that dude that shield swapped. He was really annoying, but yet you fought a guy in 34. Say, I know Golrot didn't come out for a little while, but Golrot, all he does is really slow you down.
Yeah, Golrot was no challenge whatsoever.
So, like, he was a 34, and the other guy that Shields changed was a 32 at one point. Looking at that, it could have really been balanced out a little bit better. But what I mean is, you really can't just blame it on the etheric light. You also got to look into the fact that every vendor had a 42 light cell.
Mm-hmm.
The one Kel guy, I don't remember his Varix. Varix was selling him. I didn't know if it was Varix or not. But Varix
Mm-hmm.
had that 42 light piece of armor. That basically you got that armor core, boom, you got a 42 piece. And then a guy would run for etheric light, boom, etheric light. You play 35, you got etheric light and an armor core. Of course, the armor core would have been useless within 1 week, but you would still
But
have
you
that
put it
second
on
etheric
that
light.
other character, and you run your other character through that stuff as well.
And
You
then
know,
there's
it
also
made
the
it too easy.
final that Trials of Osiris. It's not an easy thing. I I'm saying this as my experience. I know you, uh, Blackout, or I've been calling you Lance for a little while. So by the way, everybody, Blackout, Lance, and you have a better time with it. You have a group that you're able to do it with, but you get three etheric light from finishing that. So I mean, plus the fact that you get that one piece of armor that
Exactly.
follows a 42
Leveling
rule.
while Trials is a challenge. It was easy the very first week of Trials to go 9-0 if you had a solid team, because not everybody was 34, not everybody knew exactly what to expect. But once you went flawless, you had 3 etheric light, which is enough to level up all your gear, and you had a piece of armor from Trials that was 42 light, and that's not even to account for the armor Varix gave you. It was very, very easy to hit level 34, and I was super disappointed by that because a lot of people don't like the grind, but I like it because I feel like I accomplished something bigger when I stride and try to get the level, and I have to work my butt off to make it happen.
I
And
will.
instead, I felt like level 34 was just pretty much handed to me.
I also kind of got to give that to. I'm going to plug your video about this, but the story that it had before. A lot of people have theorized, which I honestly wouldn't be surprised about because we are talking a Bungie game, that the story of Destiny was cut, which you brought up earlier, and you had plugged yourself to your video. I'll plug it as well because it really does, I believe, talk a little bit about it, but not about the theory that people have. A lot of people, including myself, I don't mean to down Bungie or really look at it as though Bungie's a bad company, but a lot of people theorize that Bungie is selling us content we should have had at launch. And when it came down to that, with how I believe, I will say I do believe it's a thing. If you really look at that, that explains why the House of Wolves had what? Two light level increase, Crota, two light level increase. The Taken King, I don't think was really accounted for at that time.
It wasn't. There was so many changes that they made almost last minute when you really got to think about it from a development standpoint. 6-7 months before release date, that is the most ridiculous short notice that you could give a developer, and that's coming from me, somebody who is trying to design his own game. It's tough and it takes a lot of time, and then when you just at the end you're just like, I'm gonna cut this and that, and then we're just gonna sell it to people as extra content. It's just easier. And I think that's what had happened. Quit your giggling about that stupid grenade. I hate you so much right now.
I'm sorry, that was funny. You gotta admit to it.
But yeah, that is why I'm personally excited for the level up that we're getting in the Taken King. It's going to level 40. That is and it confirmed, and it will not be a light level. It will be an EXP grind,
I
and people
actually
are gonna
don't
throw
think I
fits about
touched
it, and I
on
think it's
what I
fun.
thought about that.
No, you haven't. You went straight to a theory, a
Well,
game theory.
the etheric light thing happened, and I had to kind of try to say something about it because I really did. I It was just one of those things that you had to account for everything else, not just the light. But when you look at how they're changing it to XP, I understand what they're doing, but when you truly went back, you could get your character from 1 to 20 in what, 4 hours if you were doing it like
If you're doing it
chill.
nonstop,
Yeah, nonstop 4 hours.
bounties and all that involved in it, yeah, 4 to 6 hours of gameplay.
And you could get to about 4 to 6 hours exactly. And there were people that, of course, like I myself have done it specifically to get a specific starter gear, which a lot of people have done and a lot of people are confused about. And for some reason, I just think it looks good. But a lot of people restart their characters, say to get that one Titan mark that just looks like a belt, or to get that scarf from the hunter because there are no other scarves.
Right, they're all cloaks. Now,
So doing that, you really could. You've seen everything, and as soon as you hit the 20, you were back up at that original level. But the thing I see about really changing it the way they are, there's going to be a lot of people doing that. I understand why they're doing it, but the way they've introduced bounties for almost everything, I've seen multiple occurrences of them saying there are Trials of Osiris bounties and stuff now supposed to
Fate
be
of all
coming out.
fools confirmed.
They're basically saying that there's a lot of different bounties that they're coming out with, and basing it all on XP and having every different form of bounty you can have, I don't think is the best idea.
Because you think it's gonna make it. Did you
No,
just
no, no,
die?
no, no, no,
Did you
no, no,
die?
no.
Yes. Did you? So you basically you think it's just gonna be another easy jump to level 40.
That's what I believe, but at the same time, I don't because of how the Dreadnought is. If you understand where I'm coming from with that.
Humongous. It is probably the biggest
Well,
patrol area we're going to have in Destiny to date.
so really, when you look at it, it's perspective. That really is going to be perspective and all how you decide you're going to get your XP.
Real quick, something I want to touch on that I just thought of. As wow, I had a really good game there. As far as the leveling up from 1 to 20. Okay, that was an EXP grind, which all MMOs base entirely on experience. You earn it through fighting and acquiring better weapons and stuff like that. Now, once you hit level 20, you felt really accomplished. And then what did you do? You sat
Hit
there
level
and you
21, 22,
grinded,
23.
you grind through Vanguard Dragon and Vanguard Rock, hoping to get this random gear that means nothing to you, that'll boost your level so that you could go into the Vault of Glass and get those legendaries that you actually care about. Like right now, Tommy, you just got a 26 light level pair of gauntlets. Those would have made my week, my whole week when I was a level 20 hunter way back when.
See,
Oh yeah.
now really with how I started thinking about it, they they're changing it to where like how about this? Let me start it with a question. Lance, Tommy, when was the last time you played Vogue?
A few, like about
Probably
a week
like
ago.
really, mine was about like a month ago.
Now what about Crota?
I just killed
Less
Crota,
than a week ago.
yeah, about a week ago.
Now how often do you play it?
I try to avoid it as often as possible. To be completely honest with you, I'm done. I got my crux. Look at that. That's a necrochasm, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Tommy, how often do you play it?
Never. I'm tired of that crap. I've done it like over 200 times. No more.
Now, that's the one thing I'm happy about. That's when it came down to how they had the game set up. That's the only reason I think this is going to work out well. The way they had the game set up, you grinded it over and over and over again, trying to get that armor you wanted. Which, okay, yeah, sure, you grinded it, you got your armor, but you barely ever touch it again. And when it comes down to XP leveling, everything gives you XP. Some things more than others. And raids, of course, give you a decent amount at
Of
end.
course. Oh, another
So
thing too I want to point out.
Raids don't give you XP.
I'm pretty sure they do after you kill final boss.
Nope.
All right,
No,
No XP at all.
they're probably
all
going to
right.
change that.
So
I'm
I
sure they
had to
will.
point out something, guys, real quick. I want to point out the fact that our guardians are still little bitty guys wearing big old armor. Think about it. We are still a bunch of little mushcakes in big armor. And that's what we are.
That can shoot void bombs out of their hands.
But still, that's all we are. 14 of our levels are armor. Think about that. We're gonna lose all those 14 levels. Every
Actually,
single.
sorry to burst your bubble on that one, and I don't mean
Well,
to interrupt you. That is not the case. We will actually, if you're level 34 when the Titan King comes out, you will stay 34. If you're level
oh
32,
In other
you will be
words, have all
32.
your 34 gear equipped.
Yes.
yeah. But say, imagine like someone that just like accidentally left their gear off, and they're
That
like, oh
includes to the
well.
people that watch this. Make sure the day of Taken King's launch, not probably the day before actually, make sure you are 34. Do not try leveling something up and being a 33 and a half because I'm pretty sure even as a 33 and a half, that'll knock you down to a 33 when it comes down to XP.
I'm kind of curious. I think I might take my least used character, my Titan, and I might actually just take all of his gear off of him and see what happens. See if that actually happens. I don't know if it will, but if it does, that'll be cool to bust.
Just in case, wear your 34 gear. To everybody that's watching this, make sure you're that
Yeah,
34
just in
level.
case. Nothing is confirmed there, like how that's going to work out.
Yeah, they don't like you don't know if they're going to analyze your bolts and stuff like that, which yes, is possible. Would take a little while. Of course, they might actually be working on it now if it works that way. But if it's based upon armor you're wearing, you are going to want that 34 level.
Right. So yeah, that's confirmed. We are going to be staying the level we are at now, which I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I'm not okay with that. I like the grind. I like to put time into this game, and I love to have a whole lot of content to play. Now, I play this game anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a day, if I'm lucky. Now, days I work and whatnot, that's obviously an exception. But days like this, I've been playing this game all day, and I've run out of content. Sometimes I'll do Crota just because I'm bored of the content. And my biggest thing with Taken King is I want there to be enough content to last until whatever comes next. And I honestly, I think it's Destiny 2 that's coming after Taken King.
I think they should be able to handle trying to do that, but the way this community is, which we brought up before, they complain about a lot of stuff, and they also, if you truly look at it, they get a lot of stuff done.
Very fast.
They
That is
really
the
do.
problem.
The ghost shells, Vanilla Destiny had those all found within the first person finding his way through the campaign. Everybody had those cracked.
Right, all the dead
And
ghosts.
then the other dead ghosts that had exist through the other time through DLCs, also all found within the first few days of the DLC. Now, those weren't supposed to be easy. They were not. They weren't meant to be something like, "Oh, hey, look what I found." They were put in places that are ridiculous. Like one of them's in the Cosmodrome, above a ceiling that basically only has like one or two holes to jump up through.
Oh, pre
It's
House of Wolves on Venus, like in that jump puzzle, like way up in the sky.
yeah,
Like there's a ghost shell up there,
I know. They
and
aren't
it was
meant to
found.
be they
Like no problem.
they aren't meant to be found easily, and yet we do it like it's nothing. So I'm really hoping that when it comes down to the sleeper simulant, I'm bringing it back up, but that's only because this is what I'm hoping they do. I hope some of them are random chances in a chest, which will, of course, be upsetting to some people because, ooh, I got 49 pieces, but I gotta wait on that 50th. But there's also the fact of if they just spawn all in the same spots and somebody's like, oh, hey, look, YouTube video, Sleeper
Exactly.
Stimulant's not going to be rare. It's going to be everywhere.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's where RNG comes into play, and everybody's going to get pissy about RNG again. But I totally agree with you. I want it to be a challenge because I play video games to one have a good time, and I play it to be challenged and have to actually be skilled. Like I find myself to be a not this game, but usually I find myself to be a very highly skilled player in the Crucible, and I pride myself on my skill in the Crucible. Except this game.
Whoa, you just got really loud. I'm just throwing it out there because it's going to throw off my audio.
How about are
Yeah,
you
you
good?
did.
There it is.
Oh, perfect.
It just went
Okay,
back down. I
weird.
don't know what happened.
Me neither. Maybe I got too passionate about my Crucible skills.
You frightened me a little bit there.
It got really
There we
loud
go.
out of nowhere. All right, but I want that thing where it's not going to be something that somebody can post a YouTube video like all the dead ghost shells have. By the way, you can look one up and find every last dead ghost shell that exists. But I'm hoping that they have something, their special little tricks that they wanted everybody to try to find, like the chests. I realized there's supposed to be exotic chests all throughout this place, this upcoming dreadnought. Supposed to be a lot of them.
Oh yeah,
They
the amount of loot that's supposed to be in the Dreadnought, it's astronomical.
so when you look at it, I'd rather have those loot crates be more like, say, the elusive seventh log chest. I
Which is
really
not
would.
confirmed, but
Of course, but it's not confirmed, and they did say something about something in the Vogue not being found. People thought it was a chest, and you know what? They also haven't said they were wrong. They aren't going to straight out be like, yeah, there's another chest, have fun, or give any hints as to where it would be. They're going to allude because that's how Bungie is.
now it's funny that you actually bring that chest up because I was going to mention you say how great our community is at finding things, and don't get me wrong, you are 100% right in that case. Our community is insane, but that one chest that supposedly is there. There's times when I'll sit here and I'll be looking for it with my raid crews and just be like, dude, is it are we even sure it exists? Like the amount of people that have been looking for this thing and they still haven't found it.
But that's just it. There's always games they have stuff hidden that people still don't find. Now I'm a huge fan of zombies. I'm gonna throw that out there in the video. So I'm using this as basically a comparison. Treyarch came right out and told everybody, "You don't know anything. You have barely scratched the surface of what there is in all of our previous zombie maps, and you're still asking for more in Black Ops 3." They just came right on out and was like, "You guys don't have everything you were looking for. It's not like you found it." In those maps, they said there was still stuff in uh Darius. You know how long that map's been out and it still hasn't been found? Every great game developer has its secrets.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the seventh chest, in my opinion, I do believe it's there. And I just believe it's really, really elusive.
Makes sense. Especially when you compare it to zombies, which I'm also a huge fan of, and you can find videos on Stone's channel, his early videos of him and I playing Call of Duty Zombies. There's just so much in that lore alone.
And
And now that
Destiny is
once
lore in its own
Treyarch
game.
said, there's more, that just blows me away.
So if you really compare it like that, this seventh chest could be there. Those maps have been out for years. Destiny's been out for about 1.5. I'm saying 1.5 because really their definition of first year isn't exactly 1 year. It's a little
Right.
bit more of 1 year. So even still, I believe it's there, and I believe that our community, even like, I'm not going to bag on Destiny in any way. The Treyarch Zombies community, I believe, is much larger. Honestly, the Zombies community has been there for a very long time and has built up quite a large following.
Right.
So I honestly believe it's there, and I think it's a little bit larger than the Destiny community. and even them who sit there and play over the maps, zooming in on everything with sniper rifles and stuff like that, still haven't found everything. I think
Kind of
we,
makes you wonder what else
I,
Bungie is hiding in Destiny.
yeah, it really is. I question if we really have found everything. Like you have said, you have everything. What if you don't? What if there's that one thing out there that nobody's found yet?
Fate of all fools.
That
It
is
could.
confirmed to not be in the game.
Okay.
Luke Smith, in a very dickish way, confirmed that is not in the game.
Okay, yes, there's that, but even still, imagine if there is that one weapon that people, even data mining is not, I'm not going to be offensive because I know you made one video about data mined information. Data mining is not reliable in any way, shape, or form.
No, it's not.
So even data mining, people have said there are weapons that have existed and stuff like that. But what if one of those data mines were correct and people just dismissed it? What if it's
Right.
there?
Well, that's a good example. Actually, my most recent upload, other than this one, is about the leaked patch notes that came out about 2 weeks before they had unleashed the actual gun patch notes that are coming out that we were discussing earlier. If you kind of crisscross them and look at them, a lot of them are very, very similar. I mean, the one that you look at it and you think, "Oh, this is fake," is unlimited vault space.
Okay, so all right, so we've basically talked about our community stuff like that. Now that you've brought it up, let's move to it.
Vault space.
Yep.
Oh no. Oh,
Let's
you
give
mean the lack thereof vault space, right? Like I had to
let's
like throw away I had to throw away all my stuff just so I can feel like I have enough room for everything else new.
Lance, you want to break it to him?
They are not giving us any vault space in the Taken King.
That's wrong. That's wrong. Why?
Deja's exact quote, as I seen inside of the Informer article, was the fact. It's probably not going to be exact, but I'm basically paraphrasing it. He said about being a guardian, the gear you use is what makes you unique. So they will not be giving vault space.
So basically, fuck collectors.
I
Basically, he's telling you to
understand.
deal with it. Is what I'm understanding.
I
Which is good,
understand.
actually. I cleared out half my vault already, but
Like when he
yeah.
comes down to it, I understand what he means by the gear you use makes you unique. Not everybody with a vault space not being upgraded, not everybody is going to sit back and be like, okay, well, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this. And really, a lot of people, they're not going to be the same. They're never going to be the same. There's going to be one gun different, always, when you look at it for what they are going to be keeping. So it really will, it'll make you somewhat unique. But when it comes down to the mind of a collector, like both I know me and Lance here are trying to do, I'm a little off on my collection. I'm pretty sure he has all of the exotics as of right now.
Yep.
But when you look at it, what what are you gonna do? There's no like the best chance you have is to play every raid and every strike with the hopes of that your postmaster can hold that weapon.
Exactly. Now, they did say that there is something that they aren't completely letting us know about, that they said they're air quote excited about to fix the issue of vault space. So I wouldn't go deleting your stuff. And Luke Smith said, do not delete anything you want to keep in the Taken King. So don't go deleting your Fate Bringers, don't go deleting your Words of Crota or anything.
Oh well.
They said hang on to it. They have something in mind and they're excited for it. We all know who the elephant in the room is that keeps us from upgrading our vault space, and it is the old gen consoles. The reason we don't have more vault space, and they came right out and said it when they upgraded our vault space, is the 360 and the PS3, they just cannot handle it. That's why when Destiny 2 comes out,
Who is it?
it will not be supporting on the old gen consoles.
Tommy, is that you?
No, that's not me. Um,
Yes, it is.
is it really me? Oh. How'd you explain to me real quick? Sorry guys for interrupting this, but how in the hell did you get up there?
Titan,
Oh,
I have a
okay.
cruise lift. Get
You
higher.
may live. You may leave. Yeah, you may live. I
I
will
came
allow
up
this.
here just so that I really don't have to focus as much on gameplay as I do about actually focusing on what we're talking
All
about.
right. Anyway, let's go back to the story. Sorry to cut you off, bud. I
It's
was
all
just
good.
a little bit confused.
Now, I am going to say what I think they're going to do with the vault space. I talked to you about this earlier, and I just going to rephrase it in the shortest way I can. I think they're going to run either a page system or something I also put together in my head as of sooner is a page system that's based on weapons. Having a page for each type of weapon. They said that this is the largest, like it will be the largest armory that will be coming out. Like as of right now, it is the largest armory. It's bigger than the Vanilla Destinies launch. It's huge.
There's going to be so many new weapons.
I
It's
don't think they're.
crazy.
I could not see them being like, okay, well, vault space, you're not getting vault space. Now that could have been him just looking at it and being like, you're not getting vault space. You're getting something else.
That's pretty much what he said. Is you're not going to get vault space, but we have a better idea.
I
Now,
think
for those
in
of you who didn't notice, the special orders woman in the tower, I can't quite remember or pronounce her name. She's not there right
isn't it
now.
like Tessa something?
Yeah.
It was like test something.
Anyways, she's not there right now. Do you guys know what they replaced her with?
A
I don't know where
kiosk.
she's at. Yeah, they replaced her with a kiosk. What if that is the whole big thing? Is we're just gonna have weapon kiosks, shader
They did say
kiosks?
something about the kiosk being that you can see the shaders you have and the shaders that you don't have and what you have to do to get those shaders.
Yeah,
But when
and
it
there's always going to be that one dark square, and that's the
when
blacksmith
I look
shader.
at it, they still have that open spot one for where she was, and I don't think they're going to remodel the entire tower. They might add a kiosk or two in places, but I don't think they're going to remodel the entire tower for the Taken
No,
King.
they're not.
I couldn't see
That's
it.
already been
But
determined.
that also shows that the vault is still there. With my which I had brought up before, I think they're going to run a page system for like say 5 pages and you've got vault space. There you go, 5 pages for armor, 5 pages for weapons, and 5 pages for all that miscellaneous they have. Now, of course, that would, in technical terms, be upgrading vault space. But what if they
Right.
did it in a different way that they set it up to where it was like you got a page for helmets, you got a page for chest plates, you got a page for the boots and the page for gauntlets. That's not really upgrading vault space because that's not vault space anymore. That is organization and that's a change
That
to
just
what
I
we've
was
What
been
I
just
would
gonna
we're
like
say
going
to
to
that
be
do.
just
seeing.
sounds like it's pandering to people with, you know, gaming OCD, which
Because even
personally I have very bad OCD when it comes
even
to
I
weapons.
sit here and I look at my helmets and I'm like, okay, so the exotics are next to each other. All right, the exotics on the end there because I have more legendaries. Oh no, these two aren't in the right spot, and I have to fix it because it's weird to me. And even if you look at my vault, my weapons aren't in line because I gave up on weapons. Really did. Just gave up on them. But if you look at my armor, it's all helmets, then it's all gauntlets, chest plates, and then boots. That's how I have it lined. So really, when you look at it, it would be catering to those people that have been asking for it for a very long time, and it will also be helping out those people that need some some more room.
Right.
Now, all right. So we talked about the vault. What else are we looking at?
Well, honestly, considering our current runtime, I think now would be a great time to do a little plug and then call it for this one, guys.
No,
Yes.
dude,
We've
we
been
just jumped into the Taken King and we haven't even touched on it. It's not
we
even
got to
cool.
we got to tease a
It's
little
not
bit,
even
man.
cool.
And I know you're excited to talk about it, and I know you know what I'm talking about.
It's not even cool. Gosh darn it,
24-hour live streams.
that's not as cool though. I'm sorry. I really wanted to get into the subclass conversation. That's all.
Well, our runtime at this point is a little insane.
Yeah, but this is a run, isn't it? I guess we could probably record one very soon, being that we do need to finish this, and I can't promise a lot of stuff is going to happen next week. So,
That we're aware of. So basically, I just got your text. What we're doing the day Taken King's released, all three of us here got the pre order. Stone and I both do live stream on Twitch, and we will be doing a 24-hour live stream of the Taken King the day it comes out. We will get it at the midnight release, go home, install it, and start a live stream immediately. I'm going to be running the Hunter. Stone will be running a Titan.
okay.
Tommy will
And
be
on with
running
the
a game
master
board.
race.
We didn't get into that conversation today. We can't. We can't.
It's okay. It's personal opinion.
We'll get into that probably next one
Okay.
because we really
So,
do need to get there.
in my description below, you guys will be able to see I will have my Twitch channel and Stone's Twitch channel linked in the description. I wish I could use annotations, but YouTube is being a dick. So,
Language, sir.
in the description, guys, you will be able to find my channel, Blackout Gaming HD, and Stone's channel, Stone MC Films. And if you guys want to go ahead and hit over there and hit that follow button now, we do live stream pretty often. And that 24-hour live stream is just going to be insane. And I'm really thinking about making any donations I get go to a charity. I haven't actually set anything in stone for that yet because I don't have a
That's
lot of
dope.
followers.
Believe me, I would say yes to that, but when it comes down to donations, I need to get my setup fixed. And if anybody is to donate to me, if you're on my channel and coming from me, if you're on his channel and coming to visit both of us, if you do donate to me, it will be going to making one a better setup to get more information out to you guys as quick as possible. And a lot of it will be going to trying to fix my internet. I
That
need
could
to
use fixed.
I need to, even with the highest internet package, I need to fix some of the lag my router alone produces, which
So,
means a
guys,
new router.
basically, we would really appreciate it if you would go to our Twitch channels and hit follow and check some of that stuff out. We do live stream pretty often. And also, guys, if you like this podcast sort of setup thing we got going on here, make sure you click that like button to let me know, and let me know in the comment section if you want to see more of these. You could also head over to Stone's channel at Stone MC Films and subscribe and like all his stuff and watch all his videos because he makes some really good content. And go ahead and check out some of my other stuff. I'm going to throw up a couple of videos in the description for you guys to
May
click
I
on.
ask what week of Destiny this is? Because I know mine is definitely coming out tomorrow or later today. So what week would this be? Because I kind of want to put that in my title.
I'm just numbering this one.
Yes, but I'd like to have like the week number. I know we're
We're
pretty high
really
up into it.
far into Destiny. I'll have to get back to you on
I,
that
it
one.
would be episode 1 week number because really, when you look at it, it is going to make a difference. Because of saying, oh, episode 2 or episode, say we're on 5. What if that was the like episode after Taken King was released?
Right.
People would want to look for that specific week, and
Well, we'll discuss this
really
off.
all that stuff. Yeah, I
Okay.
know.
Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in to us here at Blackout Gaming and also at Stone MC Films. Tommy's just kind of here. I really appreciate you guys listening, watching, and being around. And we will see you guys next week in the next podcast. See you later.
Boy.
Bye bye.